Right folks, we'll tell you a little bit of history about this particular area around here then. So this is Shanklin Seafront. Now, some of you will remember, who remembers a little lad called David Essex? Yeah? Well, he did a film called That'll Be the Day. Do you remember that? Yeah. There was a scene where he was a deck chair attendant, and it was filmed on this beach just to the right of us. Now the camera would have been facing as if we're looking to the back of the coach, and back then you had Shanklin Pier in the shot. Now Shanklin Pier, it got blown away. Was that 87?
Yeah, yeah.
Got blown away early 1987. It got blown away. The concrete dredger we used to, it was all barriered off. It was deemed to be unsafe, and we used to swim off it and, you know, fish off it. What was John Paul's wife called? I can't remember.
Sheila Hancock.
Just it's a bit that won't go in. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Show up there, which over the years is not quite as good as it used to be. Right. So we're dropping down into the old village now. You see all these lovely thatched properties. These from about the 1700s. Crab Inn on the left there. That's a great particular pub. All thatched. And now the reason we've got so much thatch on the island, which we have all over the place, isn't because it looks pretty, which it does. It obviously looks very, very pretty. The reason being is you've got to remember back in the 16 or before the Victoria's Church, which is the old village church, my dad used to give me swimming lessons in that duck pond. Well, he used to throw me in. I don't know if they were actually swimming lessons or what, but it was quite good, the Victorians coming over here. But we're going to go past a place in a bit today called Chale Green, and it's lots and lots of corkheads live there. And I used to have a mate that used to live there called Steve Hales, bless him. And Steve was a real old islander, and he passed away quite young actually. We went to his funeral. He had, I don't know, 20, 30 members of his family at the funeral, and they all looked the same. They did, they all looked the same. They had one eye going one way, one eye going the other. Well, no, they had a few, yeah, but everybody had a few like six fingers and twitches, but they all look the same. Even the people that are married into the family look the same, and most of them were called Dave. Very peculiar. But yeah, so this is a Victorian seaside town basically. A lot of these properties would have been holiday homes to start with. Very wealthy people, sort of landowners, politicians, solicitors, doctors, business people of the Victorian era. They would have had holiday homes on the island, and it started really, that's what started the holiday industry. The Victorians were very loved coming to the seaside, loved coming to the Isle of Wight, and places like Brighton, Eastbourne. They all grew up around the Victorian era, and the Victorian fascination were coming on holiday, and that's what they would have come over here for. And then as time went on, as the rail links were opened and the ferry links were opened, steam at one time all over the island, great influence with steam engines all over the island. One about the last places in this country to have steam in the late 60s. Nice views of Ventnor just to the left of us there. I never normally see those because I'm driving normally. We'll bring them along. So you're from Yorkshire, are you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are all people from sort of the northeast. Yeah. Just watch them. Why just watch them? They're just here on the left-hand side. There's a lovely little There we are, just on the left there. You get it? See it? Yeah. There you go. At the time, and we'd had the conflict with Napoleon. They'd had the obviously the war with France. That was all over, but they were very fearful. And anyway, they put lots of defences around the island. There's a big battery at the end of Tennyson Down. Tennyson Down are the white chalky cliffs you can see in front of us, and lots of battery a little bit here. Big area, big agricultural area. You see the odd thatched properties through here, just strewn all over the place. Now, one time the whole village would have just been one street. It was obviously spread over the years. We come straight up now. You've got some very pretty little thatched properties in front of us. The one slightly to the right, or one to the right of us as we look at them, it's got a couple of hares up on the roof. One sat down and one running. I'll tell you about that. It's a very old Elizabethan and Tudor tradition, that one is. I'll explain a bit more about that in a second. I just want to say another little, very pretty little street in a minute, just up on the right, which is a lovely row of thatched properties. Sure. Not so much down in Devon, you get it a bit, not so much in Cornwall, or Wales obviously, because you've got the slate there. So this little road on the right, North Street, this is very pretty, this little street just down to the right of us there. Some beautiful examples of English thatch. Very expensive to buy. They do have a lot of problems though. This one on the left here is just up for sale if you fancy it. Look at that one on the left, Digby Cottage. Absolutely gorgeous. They're quite cheaply built actually. You generally have one about a 12 inch. If they're facing inwards, that means you were very welcoming. You paid the thatcher on time. Surprise. He doesn't know it yet.
He is New Year's surprise.
He is New Year's surprise. But yeah, this is where he got married, in this church up on the left, and on the right, he had his wedding reception 10 years ago now. So you've got the manor house on the right hand side, Elizabethan manor house, beautiful property that is. The gardens are open in the summer, and the church here on the left of St. Peter and St. Paul. Also in there is the Seeley Memorial, and that's to a horse, believe it or not. So whether he still does or not, I don't think it's open at the moment. But he used to drink in this particular pub here on the left.
Right, it's all free.
It's a free house. That's called the Sun at Hompeston. I don't know what they do with that here.
Yeah, it's got new owners.
Now you're looking directly at Tennyson Down. Used to be called Freshwater Down. Tennyson Down, named after the Victorian poet Alfred Lord Tennyson. The highest point there is 400 feet above sea level. That's the one in the middle, and that's known as the Whale's Back. Beautiful chalky outcrop there, and the needles are just sort of round the corner at the end. You can't quite see them. They point towards England. The reason they point towards England, you've got to use your imagination a little bit. This chalky ridge would have gone originally 1,000 years ago, after the last ice age. When the ice receded, there was a massive cataclysmic event. That's the word, isn't it? Cataclysmic event. You want to make sure you got your teeth in when you say that. Geology terms at all. Really, really quite short. And that's why we've only got red squirrels on the island. Very big events, very big artists of the day. Over 100,000 people came to the island, and it attracted one of the biggest American artists of the day called Jimi Hendrix. and in fact it was the last gig Jimmy ever played. Unfortunately passed away after then. He had a bit of a big drugs overdose, unfortunately. But that was the last gig here where he played. You might be able to see right on the top of that Wales hump I was talking about. It's like a little monument. That's known as the Tennyson Monument. Now, Tennyson, Alfred Lord Tennyson, great Victorian poet. He was poet to Queen Victoria, and he lived on the island. He didn't come from the island. He lived on the island for about 40 years, and he wrote quite a lot of his poetry on those downlands you can see in front of us. And when you're up there, you can see where he got a lot of the inspiration from. He used to live just we're not going by his house today, but he lived past his house, a place called Ferryford House, which is in the freshwater bay here.
Yeah, but that's in all the ghost thing.
Now, just in front of us is the remnants of an old Roman road, which is this little, just on the left here. The Romans had quite a lot of influence on the island with the Romans. They were here, and they named the island Vectus. So you'll see the word Vectus all over the place, and Vectus is the Roman name for the island. But the Isle of Wight, the name the Isle of Wight, a lot of people think it comes from the White Chalky Cliffs, spelled completely differently. It's W-I-G-H-T, and obviously White is W-H-I-T-E, so it's spelled very differently. It's a derivative from Veet. Now, there were people over here long before the Romans called the Beaker people, and they were Germanic tribes. They came to the island, and they called the island Veet. Marsh. He used to live in Yarmouth. He now's got a place in Cowes. He did. He was our High Sheriff of the island for a year, and he used to live in Yarmouth. Doesn't anymore, but he used to live here. He now's got a property in Cowes. He likes sailing, does our Alan, so he's a great sailor. And he's got an apartment, quite a nice apartment in 10 years ago now. And islanders, you could buy a plank and your name would have been put on the plank and then put down for people to walk on. So it just shows the amount of money you, I think you had to pay about £200 or something for a plank, and it went to the reconstruction of the pier. So we're just coming into Yarmouth now. We're going to go over this swing bridge, which swings open when there's any large vessels coming through, or tall-masted ships. It's one of the crossings here to the mainland, which is Lymington. This goes over to in the New Forest, and that's a company called White Link. Shall I say 20 past? An hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah, should be on it. Make it half past if you want.
Right, folks, we're going to get underway for 20 past 1.
No, 20 past 2.
20 past 2. Recheck. 20 past 2. Because you spoke to the Caledonian on the side of Jason's.
No, that's great.
Yeah, 20 past 2, please, ladies and gents. We're going to get underway. And like I say, if you're going on that trip to ride, I do need just to collect some money off you, either now or when you come back. There is a cash machine in the town itself. Off the coach, turn right, just keep going, or you can follow the road round to the castle, which is directly in front of us there, and that brings you into the town.